how safe can we get from the relegation list? Because a loss for that night would have really meant they equally joined Mathare United for the relegation list, and then that really penultimately means that you play in the NSL. However, it was the best outing for them, and they ensured that they lived up to the billing, winning the night 2-1, and therefore they are safe for this one. But one could be equally be asking this, You know, we are banned,
yes,
right? And of course, us being banned, how safe to say that somebody has been relegated? They will easily term the league not right, because remember, the current league has been picked up by the Football Caretaker Committee. Already we are now having more or less a transition committee. But these ones, the two entities that have been running our football, how safe are they far as the FIFA and the CAF rules and regulations are concerned, man?
But you see, the thing is, I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of Mathare United and Vihiga Bullets just riding our luck. It's better for us to ensure that we are safe in the league, so that even that time, when that time comes for us to be readmitted by the world governing body FIFA, because remember, for us to be readmitted back into the FIFA fold, there are some things that we need to do. So should the country go ahead, that is the Sports Ministry and FKF, should they go ahead and put their house in order, then it means that we will be readmitted back into the FIFA fold. So if you ask me, it's better to be safe than sorry. Just be safe within the FKF Premier League, not like Mathare United, not like Vihiga Bullets, who now, even if we are readmitted, they find themselves in the second tier of Kenyan football. Now, another side was Wazito FC. For them, they survived by a whisker. But now the thing is, for them, the good thing for Wazito FC is that they finished third from last. So for them, at least they have another bite, because they will be taking on a side, the third team that finishes third in the NSL, that is in the FKF Premier League relegation and promotion playoff. For Wazito FC, at least for them, they still have, you can say, 1 foot still in the FKF Premier League, but remember also, because of their position, they have 1 foot in the NSL, depending on how they will fare during the FKF playoff, that is for the relegation and also for the promotion. Now, those were the matches that were played over the weekend, that is on Saturday and also yesterday. We still have 1 match to be played today, and this one is promising to be a cracking encounter, because it promises, or rather it's between Nairobi City Stars. Currently they are occupying the 5th position, and AFC Leopards, who are currently occupying the 8th position. Now, FC Leopards in 8th, they do have 45 points, and for Nairobi City Stars, they have 47 points. Now, this is the motivation for Nairobi City Stars. Should they win their game this afternoon against AFC Leopards, they will be leapfrogging Gor Mahia from position 5th. They will be leapfrogging them onto position 4. So it's a huge encounter for Nairobi City Stars. Of course, they are out of the running for the title, but of course, they want to finish as high as possible when it comes to the FKF Premier League. But Jose, FC Leopards, they have, well, they may not be in the right positions, if you say, but they have shown that they can play some good football, and basing such a young side, but they are showing some good football.
Yeah, give credit to one Patrick Howson, because him coming in and taking the tutelage for AFC Leopards has really given them a new life. Unfortunately, as is currently, is that their sponsor, shirt sponsor, them and Gor Mahia, is apparently bowing out of the country. This is because of the economic times that we're experiencing as a country. And as such, that really means that AFC Leopards have to really position themselves in a better outing. Unfortunately, they played in the Madaraka Cup. It was not to be, and as such, they lost a chance to win a million shillings.
Yep.
However, they are at a safe space because His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta promised them 24 million shillings, and this would really put them in a better grounding. So whatever the outing, whatever the outcome, they are safe, at least for now. Yep. But, as you likely put it, it is a case of you better be safe than sorry.
That's it.
This is because it is not just a case of us playing, but playing for the best outing and trying to position ourselves for a chance to contend for the available spaces for the CAF Confederation Cup and, of course, the CAF Champions League, man.
All right. So that is in as far as the FKF Premier League. So top of the table, Tusker joins at the top, only separated by goal difference by Kakamega Homeboyz. Bandari, they are occupying the second position. They have 54 points. Gor Mahia on 49 points, occupying the fourth position. And of course, as we have mentioned, Vihiga Bullets and Mathare United, it's au revoir to them as they are now relegated to the National Super League. We take a short break, and when we come back, still a lot of action to look forward to. Lots of action happened in as far as rugby is concerned, not forgetting the African Cup of Nations 2023 qualifiers. Was Harambee Stars in action? Stick around for that.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available. Amen. And He will make you able and capable.
Families Under God, Sundays at 8:30 p.m. only on Hope TV.
Hope TV is now available on GoTV Channel 103, Zuku Channel 873, Signet Channel 817, and Star Times Channel 026. Enjoy our uplifting content and family-friendly programming anytime. Hope TV, you look and live.
This is Pitchside, and we are here to let us know what's happening and what's happening, has been happening in the world of sports. Such a joy to be hosting you this beautiful Monday afternoon. My name is George Gishuro.
And of course, I'm Mike Mbogwa. You can call me the Sergeant. And thank you so much for everyone who's tuned in, even as we try to bring you up to speed with things happening in the world of sports. And Sergeant George, one of the biggest action that has been happening here. Rather, it happened on the weekend, that is on Saturday.
Yep.
These are the RFUEA grounds. We're speaking about the Kari First Division Cup and defending champions.
Were in town. We are talking of the Leopards, and they were in town, and all roads were leading to the RFUA grounds along Ngong Road for this particular encounter. And of course, every time a national team, and especially when it comes to rugby, they are in action, you can trust rugby fans to show up in their droves, in their numbers, to show their support for the national team. And this was no different over the weekend because, yes, the venue was full to capacity. And actually, I think we need to have a bigger venue when it comes to rugby because these guys, they never disappoint. They show up and they show up proper to root for the national teams. And this time round, and especially looking at the sevens team, the national sevens team, Shujaa, has been having a poor run for, if I'm being honest, you know.
This is you.
So for the 15th rugby team, for them, Kenyans were eager to see where they have been and how long they have grown in terms of showcasing their talent and rubbing shoulders with the mighty, and especially when it comes to the African sides. And Leopards were in town, and Jose,
yeah, it was
Simba did not disappoint.
Yes, Peter Odera's charges did not disappoint. This is because of an iconic term. This is because anytime this guy turns up, he turns up big. I'm speaking about Kenya Commercial Bank Rugby Football Club star Darwin Mukitsa, who was in action and ensured that Kenya reigned big and that Kenyan fans who love this game were not disappointed. At the tail end of the day, Team Kenya 51 and of course Leopards 35.
Yep.
And that really meant that Simbas, who are actually by then 8th, have now moved from 8th position up from where Leopards were actually the defending champions of the first division of the Kauri Cup. They leapfrogged them. And now await what will pan out over the weekend. This is because we'll be wrapping up the group stage, the preliminary stages for us to queue through to the semi-finale. Unfortunately, the two sides, if they don't win, rather if Simba don't win in the last of the fixtures, they cannot really live to tell a better story of this one. So it is another case of how best can they turn out and turn out big far as rugby is concerned and far as their chance is concerned. Because to this far, Peter Odera's charges have only won one game, then won the other game over the weekend. And that really puts them in a very, very murky water space. And we hope to see what will pan out on the last of the fixture for the night.
And actually, Jose, the Kenya Rugby Union boss, that is Odur Gangla, confirming that the Simbas, the team, is using the Curry Cup as preparations for the Rugby World Cup qualifiers. So they are just using these as preparations for the July. Remember, the qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers will be held in July. And so the team, that is Team Kenya, the Simbas, they are using these as preparations. Just a reminder that the qualifiers will be in July and they'll be hosted in Marseille, that is in France. And of course, many a times that we have been accusing federations of not offering the national teams proper preparations, proper exposure, and especially when they are about to take part in a major tournament, in major qualifiers. So this one, despite all their shortcomings, and of course, if we are enumerating the shortcomings, they could be many, but of course, we need to give credit where it's due. And to the Kenya Rugby Union, this is a plus for them having the Curry Cup as part of the preparations for the Simba team ahead of the Rugby World Cup qualifiers to be hosted in Marseille, France later this year. Actually, that will be happening in July. So that is in as far as the Simba team is concerned. And of course, we are wishing them the very best. We want them, you know, to take that next step from the African front. We now want them to see them in the global space, you know, rubbing shoulders with the high and the mighty, and of course with proper preparations, proper exposure, the right motivation, because that is key to some of these players. So long as they are motivated, so long as they are given all the right environment for them to be able to express themselves, the talent is there. So just harness that that talent, and of course, these boys, trust you me, they can be able to go out there and conquer the world as well. All right.
Yes, and speaking about conquering the world, you asked on a bigger question that is Kenya taking part on the next action we're about to talk about?
Now, this one, where every time we come to African football, but especially the Kenyan football, you get disappointed.
Beyond the Nairobi, hakuna mahali tunasonga.
Without our boundaries, we are still confined to our boundaries. But we are talking about the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. And remember, this one will be hosted next year in Ivory Coast. And for the tournament to go ahead, of course, we need to have participants. And the qualifiers began over the weekend. And unfortunately, due to the FIFA ban, we cannot, as Kenya, take part in the CAF qualifiers for the Africa Cup of Nations, because we were not able to sort out our mess. We were not able to put our house in order. And so due to the deadline that we had been given, it came and lapsed. And so we were told, because you have not been able to confine yourselves to what we would expect of a nation that is within FIFA statutes, then go and sort yourself out, and then maybe, just maybe, we might readmit you. So we will be sitting out the qualifiers, that is the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. It's quite unfortunate because Saturday we were supposed to be playing the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Can you imagine? But now because of the ban,
it would have been a big one, man.
It would have been a big one. I was looking forward to meeting the Cameroon...
Joseph Abubakar.
No. The president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o himself, because he's one of the most lethal strikers that Africa has ever produced.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't to be. So Cameroon had to sit this one out, play a build-up match. And in the same pool that Kenya, Cameroon are in, we have Namibia, and also we do have Burundi, our Eastern African brothers. And this one, again, now, when you get to hear the results, is now when, again, you get more disappointed. Because the match ended in a 1-0 draw. Now, just remember that in every group, we will be having 2 teams.
Proceeding to the next round.
Proceeding to, actually, the tournament proper.
Absolutely.
You see, so you can't see that in a group, Cameroon, Namibia, and Burundi, we cannot be the second team in that pool, if not the top team.
But George, let's face it.
Yes.
Before this ban, we were in action, playing against who? Comoro. Against who? Mali.
Yes.
Against who? Rwanda. What good outing did we write home? Anywho, let's focus to the action, and like you've rightly put it, we were not able to play, and therefore that meant Cameroon got the better hand out of this one. Our fellow neighbors, that is in the name of Tanzania, the Taifa Stars of Tanzania, were in action. They were playing Namibia. Rather, they were playing Niger. And the game ended on a barren 1-1 draw. So that was a good outing. Remember that Niger were actually hosting this one. So for Taifa Stars, it was a good outing. But unfortunately, the other East African neighbors in the name of Uganda, they were away in Algeria to face off with the finalist of the last edition of the African Cup of Nations.
That's it.
And it was not to be for them. This is because Riyad Mahrez and his squad were out to reign big against our neighbors, full-time 2-0. And the other action, notable action, was the winners and the current holders of the African Cup of Nations title in the name of Senegal. They were in action facing none other than Benin. Full time, it was big, better, and greater for Sadio Mane, who is actually contemplating leaving Liverpool. And how best to leave a statement on the home soil other than becoming the all-time top scorer in Senegal football, scoring in the night a hat-trick and ensuring that they won this one 3-1.
All right, in other results over the weekend, the Pharaohs of Egypt, remember these are the beaten finalists from the last edition by the Teranga Lions of Senegal, and the Pharaohs were in action against Guinea, and this one ended in favor of Pharaoh. It ended 1-0, and then Gabon were also 1-0 victors over the DR Congo. Our friends here, Ethiopia, they were in action yesterday. And this one, actually, I was watching this encounter, and they conceded the second goal via the penalty spot against Malawi, and it ended 2-1 in favor of Malawi. Now, in other results, our neighbors, because you see, because we are not in action, we are looking at how our neighbors are faring. I think it's only fair to see who is representing the East and the Eastern African region now that Kenya is not in action. Sudan, they were in action, but they were beaten by 3-0. That is against Mauritania. So those are the matches that were played over the weekend. And of course, a lot of action. Some of the big boys from the European leagues, from the African continent, they came back to represent their national teams. And unfortunately, as we have kept saying, our team, Harambee Stars, in action, it means that Kenyans are deprived of watching the likes of Michael Olunga, Machelo Ouma, all those top Kenyan players in action. Now, Jose, the qualifiers, they continue this week, and today we actually do have one match. This one is between Equatorial Guinea. They will be taking on Libya. That is the only match that will be played today, but a host of matches actually will be played.
Yes, tomorrow the action continues as Eswatini, in the name of Swaziland, take on none other than Burkina Faso, the Burkinabes. And of course, Cape Verde will be out to face off with the younger brothers of one, Emmanuel Sheyi Adebayo, in the name of Togo. And who else is in action? Chipolopolo of Zambia,
yes,
will also be in action tomorrow to face off with a side that really made Kenya rethink so much about their fate when it comes to football, in the name of Comoro Island.
All right, tomorrow also the Lions of Teranga will be taking part in their second match, and this one they will be taking on the Amavubi Stars of Rwanda. Now, just a reminder that Rwanda, in their opening encounter, they took home a point away from home. This one they were taking on Mozambique, and they ended up taking a point from this encounter. It ended 1-1. So tomorrow, Rwanda will be hosting Sadio Mane, Aliou Cisse and company in the next qualifier. And of course, on Wednesday, Uganda Cranes will be in action against Niger. And of course, Uganda, they will be aiming to bounce back from that weekend defeat in the hands of the Desert Foxes of Algeria when they take on Niger. And of course, we know that Uganda, especially when they are playing at home, they are a totally different side. I don't know if it's the only time they are playing Kenya is the only time they show their true colors back at home. But we are hoping for the sake of flying the East African flag high in the Africa Cup of Nations, that they can be able to get the maximum points against the Niger tomorrow. That is on Wednesday. And also on Wednesday, Tanzania will be in action against Riyad Mahrez and Algeria.
Absolutely. And speaking of the best when it comes to gaming,
yes,
I don't think this one would have gone unnoticed. This is because the King of Clay was in action. This is in as far as the French Open is concerned. We're speaking about tennis, and this is the Roland Garros. It was happening. It has been in for the better part of the last 2 weeks. The action has been on. And who best to look up to other than the tennis great in the name of Rafael Nadal? This is your guy.
That's it. That's my guy.
You love this man to bits and pieces.
Because of the way he plays, the way he carries himself, and you see his dominance, and especially when it comes to Roland Garros. This is a guy who has totally dominated the French Open ever since he won. Actually, the first time he won the French Open was way back in 2005. That was the first time he won the French Open title. And in the year 2022, the guy is still going strong. Now, in short, Jose, he has made it to 14.
A record 14 Grand Slam.
That is in the French Open
yes.
finals. He has been in the finals for the last, in 14 occasions. And in the 14 occasions, the guy is yet to lose. So in short, that is what you call total dominance.
He shows up in Paris, you're like... the King of Clay.
That's it. And yesterday, of course, he continued with the same. And yesterday was actually what you can call ruthless.
Serious stamping.
Yeah, because when you talk of a 6-3, 6-3, 6-love victory against the Norwegian guy, Ruud. Now, that is total dominance by Rafael Nadal. And of course, that was his 14th French Open title. Now, just to remind you that Rafael Nadal is a staunch fan of Real Madrid, and actually, he is an honorary member
of Real Madrid. Who are the 14-time UEFA Champions League holders.
So they are 14 times Champions League winners. Rafa Nadal is 14 times French Open winner. And the 14th title for Real Madrid was won at the Parc des Princes in Paris.
Where in the same
French Open, he won the same in Paris. So you can say that indeed...
It's a high-tone redefinition of what you'd really call coincidence.
That's it.
But that puts him on a better outing. This is because he now reigns as the all-time great, total Grand Slam titles, 22.
And he sits comfortably at the top on top of the Swiss master himself, Roger Federer.
Who is my guy.
Yeah, your guy.
You know?
When was the last time, by the way, Roger Federer?
It's been ages. I don't even think he will be making a serious comeback.
Yeah.
However, I keep hoping
that
this
he
is
will
because
come back.
he's a good man. Anytime he plays, you love Roger Federer in the game.
But of course, we hope and we pray for him that he'll be able to overcome the many injuries that have continued to dog him over the last few years. But of course, also joined second with the 20 Grand Slam titles. This is the Serbian guy, Novak Djokovic. So Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer, both of them, they have amassed 20 Grand Slam titles. But of course, now sitting pretty comfortable at the top is my guy. That is the Spaniard, Rafael Nadal. Now, this is it. He has won 14 French Open titles. He has won 2 Australian Open titles. He has also won 2 Wimbledon titles and 4, US Open titles. That makes it 22 Grand Slam titles. And of course, he is the champion who won the Australian Open, and now he has won the French Open. So he's holding the two together for the very first time. And of course, en route to the final, he had to beat the best for him to be the best in the semi, beating Zverev in the quarterfinal, beating Novak Djokovic as well in the quarterfinal. So for him to be the best, he had to beat the best. And of course, Rafael Nadal, he never, ever disappoints. So we take a break, Jose, and then when we are back, we'll be looking at for now, thank you, my producer, telling us that we can continue and we look at the UEFA Nations League.
Yes, but maybe, George, before we talk about the UEFA Nations League, which is actually on its early stages, there was one big action that was happening. This is because 2 countries, one was trying to really grapple with the hard times following the invasion in their country, and the other one was trying to come back after a record series. Yes, the last they played was in 1958. Who am I speaking about? Speaking about Ukraine, this is Zinchenko and co. They're trying to really inspire their country and inspire their team in making sure that they land to the Qatar 2022 World Cup.
Yes.
As they face off with Gareth Bale and team in the name of Wales. The last they were in World Cup was in 1958. At least they made it. At least they made it. They're not like us. However, the night was not good, and who else would have really gotten it other than the captain, Yarmolenko, scoring a non-goal and ensuring that his side, unfortunately, lost their chance and space to take part in the 2022 FIFA World Cup that is set to be played in Qatar. It's a big action, and unfortunately, because when you look at the side that has been actually doing action for the team, they're not just a small team. No. It's a good team and a team that has been very inspirational. You look at Zinchenko playing for Manchester City. He's been very, very, very good when it comes to the action. But unfortunately, like the Swahili say, bahate ko upande wako wao.
Yes, and of course you have to give credit where it's due as well, because the Welsh side, they did turn up during the qualifier that was played last night that was in Cardiff. And of course, you want your top players to perform at the highest level. And of course, there is one guy who never disappoints when it comes to the big occasions, because he's a man of the big occasions. We are talking of Gareth Bale. Just led Real Madrid to their 14th UEFA Champions League title, and now he was leading his nation, and of course he was inspiring them, and they were looking up to him to inspire them to their first World Cup appearance, as you mentioned, in such a long while, and he did not disappoint. He scored the all-important goal for them to take the 3 points and the victory that was needed. But of course, usually we look at the guys who get the goals and we forget the guys who protect the goal. We are talking about the defenders and even the goalkeepers, because Jose, Bale may have scored the goal, but trust you me, if Wayne Hennessy, who was in the Welsh goal, was not in inspired form, then I'm sure this morning the nation of Ukraine would be celebrating their qualification to the World Cup. But for Wayne Hennessy, who had a man of the match performance to inspire Wales to their first World Cup since 1958, and of course, they'll be looking forward to the same. Now, actually, because they were because of what had happened, the qualifier had to be postponed. They now join the same pool as England, USA, and Iran. So that is where Wales has been placed, because the draw already, remember, the draw has been conducted, and they will now be facing England. Should we say they are part of the United Kingdom, you know?
Yeah, as the Queen marks the 75th in that celebration. So you can imagine how unifying it feels as they mark the Platinum Jubilee. But speaking about England, and England were in action on a weekend that I don't know what was really transpiring when it comes to the Nations League.
Yeah.
This is because in the action they were playing none other than Hungary.
Yep.
And who was to really be into this one other than the renowned left back, right back for Chelsea, Reece James, causing a blunder, and that really meant that a penalty, and Hungary winning in the night 1-0. But other actions that have been on, that were on in the weekend, is that San Marino are playing Malta, full-time 2-0 for San Marino. Who else were in action, George?
Of course, we know that the Danish were taking on Le Bleu, the champions. That is the UEFA Nations League defending champions, and of course the World Cup champions. That is France. And the Danish, they scored 2-1 in favor of the Danish. So they walked home with the 3 points. And of course, over the weekend, the standout fixture was Belgium, receiving 4 from the Dutch, and of course Memphis Depay scoring a brace, and of course another one was former champions, world champions, France, not France, but Italy. They were in action against Germany, and it ended 1-1. And of course the same continues over the next few days. And of course, Jose, even as we are looking at some of the fixtures, the one thing that many continue to wonder is, why are we having such a major tournament immediately after such a long season? And then after the tournament, the players will have to go for their preseason. And then after the preseason, we have the domestic leagues officially starting early August. And then remember, due to the unique nature of this season, the World Cup, instead of the summer, will be played in November. So that means the domestic leagues will have to be halted to pave way for the World Cup. So the question, I remember Kevin De Bruyne, Virgil van Dijk, and others have raised concerns, and they are asking, why should we be playing these matches immediately after a long season, and then we are expected to go for preseason with our clubs? Who is looking for the welfare of these players?
It's unfortunate because now, take a case scenario when it comes to the English football. We already have like how many tournaments? 4?
Yep.
And if by any chance you win the UEFA Champions League, you can count 2 more. This is the Super Cup and, of course, the Club World Cup. Those are 6. You can imagine that normally a team has 23 players.
Yes.
So the fatigue that comes with it. But again, the thrive for this game is all about competition, and therefore they thrive in it, they love it. Unfortunately, it might not give us a space for us having older players playing for longer.
Yep.
Because like now, take a case scenario, the Swedish star in the name of Ibra. He might not be coming back soon. This is because of a strain of injuries that he's been having. And you can imagine how bad it positions him for the national team and subsequently for the leagues, because every player wants to have those accolades. You want to reign big like the David Luiz of this world. You want to ride big like the Dani Alveses of this world, the Marcelos of this world. And every other given time, we've been given a competition. I remember at one given time, Arsene Wenger had actually asked about the same question. And Jose Mourinho equally has questioned this. But then it's a case of which one do we drop?
But you see, Jose, for fans, we are not complaining. We are not complaining because we want to see action upon action upon action.
But do you see, George, the problem would be,
yes,
much as we wouldn't complain, we'll complain the quality of play that will be coming in.
But I think
because
also,
like now, case scenario, I loved how I saw one Ronaldo from Portugal playing and scoring that brace as they played yesterday. But you would tell that Ronaldo, he has so much to try and resuscitate a Manchester United that you cannot be able to explain what really happens with it.
Why are you bringing Manchester United into the UEFA Nations
Because
League?
Ronaldo came.
Anyway, because of that,
That's how fast you're moving on.
I think UEFA, the countries and the nations, and actually the technical benches, they need to be innovative. What do we mean? Instead of playing some of the top players, why not inculcate the youth system? Why not allow the youngsters to come into the fold? Allow them to play for the national team and build and increase the pool of players that you can pick from instead of going for the usual suspects.
But George, 2 questions. You can never be able to play beyond 23 players in any team. That's a rule by FIFA. Again, every other given player can only tell of the best of their story on how many caps they capped for the national team and how many trophies they won for the various clubs that they've been playing for. So it's a case of now us sitting back and asking ourselves, which one do we drop? Ask me, like now if it's the English Premier League, I don't really understand why we have the FA and we have the Carling Cup, you know?
Yeah.
Because it might not be here or there, because the last I watched it and the last... Yes, and the last I watched it and the last this action was on, one of the key points you'd realize is that the amount that is being played for is some money that can pay the likes of Virgil van Dijk, one player. So other than it being a fatigue space, my hope and prayer is FIFA, UEFA, and the various governing bodies that is global and even continental. They will try and see what we need and what we don't need.
All right. Now, as the discussion continues, the matches as well continue. And we do have matches that will be played today. Latvia will be taking on Liechtenstein, and then Israel will be hosting, or rather, Belarus will be hosting Azerbaijan. The big one today will be happening between Croatia and France. That one will be big. And the reason why I'm saying it will be big is because both sides actually lost their opening matches. For Croatia, they were beaten by Austria. Guess who is managing Austria? Raf Rangnick is their new manager, and Croatia were beaten by Austria. France also, they will be aiming to bounce back from that 2-1 defeat by Denmark. Another encounter tonight, Austria will be hosting Denmark, Iceland versus Albania, Andorra will be at home to Moldova, Slovakia versus Kazakhstan, and Belarus versus Azerbaijan. So those are the matches in the UEFA Nations League, the matches that will be played later tonight. And of course, I'm looking forward to Croatia versus France. I'm looking forward to Luka Modric versus his Real Madrid teammate, Karim Benzema, and to see who will be carrying the day tonight. And of course, tomorrow, you remember the rivalry between Germany and England?
Yes.
They are going to renew their rivalry. That is tomorrow at about 9:45 p.m. So that's why I'm telling you, Jose, in as far as players are complaining, as the fans,
you're loving the action.
We are loving this action, and we can't wait for this action because, of course, with club football now taking a backseat. Of course, now we as football fans, we are holding on to anything that is kicking up football. And of course, with the UEFA Nations League, the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, they are keeping us as football fans quite busy. Now, there is something that was also happening in the wee hours of this morning.
Yep, it was a big one.
Yeah.
It is because game 1 was not really fine for me.
Game 1.
Game 1 was really bad. I'm speaking about NBA, the playoff action. I know one guy who is a friend and loves this one, Kevin Kingori. He's a fan of the Golden State Warriors. Now, they were playing the Bolton Celtics, right?
Yep.
And game 1 ended in favor of Celtics winning. That was on Thursday last week.
Yep.
And in the wee hours of this morning, it was happening. Steve Curry and his brothers and charges were in action to try and see how best of the 7 they can be able to position themselves in the contention of winning another title of the NBA.
Yes, and as you mentioned, Stephen Curry was there. Of course, he always inspires the Golden State Warriors, and this was no different. 29 points to lead the Golden State Warriors to a 107-88 victory over the Boston Celtics. Now, for the Boston Celtics, it's quite something for them because this is their first NBA final appearance since 2010. So this means something for the Boston Celtics as well. Now, for the Golden State Warriors, remember, they have won it in the recent past. And of course, in the first game, that is game 1, they led at some point, but at some point, they allowed a 12-point lead evaporate. Just like that. 12 points, you know, and this was actually in the 4th quarter, and they just allowed a 12-point lead to evaporate just like that. But this time round, they were not joking. They were not here to dish 3 points, and they ensured that the Boston Celtics had to toil, even for the 88 points. So this one ended 107-88 in favor of Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Now, game 3. Is happening on Thursday, and you need to wake up quite early for you to catch up game 3. It will be happening at 4 a.m. And this one, the Celtics as well, will be hosting this one. And I don't know how this one will pan out. Who will take the advantage? Will it be the Celtics or the Golden State Warriors? Is it the Dub Nation, as
George,
they call it?
Wrap it up. This is because my producer is telling me time is up. How good we feel about this one. But anywho, bite the bullet. Who do you think will be winning this one?
This one. Easy.
Yeah,
the Dub Nation. The Dub Nation are carrying it, and I think the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry will be adding yet another title. Into their already delicious-looking trophy cabinet. And because of time, because our producer is insisting, you have to wrap up. Thank you so very much. Remember, this was our debut show. And remember, you can interact with us. Use that SMS line down below, and you can just text us in and inform us what we need to improve, where we need to improve. Maybe you have a sports event you want covered. Talk to us on that SMS line. Just start the SMS line with Pitchside. We'll be there to cover the same. My name is George Gishuru.
And me, Mike Mbogwa. Do have yourself a blessed afternoon.
Adios.